Hey guys, it's Core Ross and Rainbow Six News. Today we're breaking down the reputation system in Rainbow Six Siege and how it works. And answer burning questions like what the heck is that fire icon next to some players' names in the scoreboard? So let's jump in. We'll start with the main menu. You now have a reputation button that takes you to the reputation section. Be noted that this system is still in beta and probably will be for over a year. And the reputation itself was announced about 4 years ago, so it's probably going to be a while until this is out of beta. And the first section here is your standing, so you can kind of think of this, and I'm going to use air quotes here, your reputation rank. So this will show where you're kind of sitting in the reputation, and it goes from dishonored, disruptive, respectable, esteemed, and exemplary. The next tab is commendations. And you'll notice at the moment, commendations don't currently affect your reputation, but they will in the future. It's kind of just absorbing data right now. And commendations are all positive things, and these are given by your teammates at the end of a game. So you'll have 2 commendations that you can hand out to fellow teammates, and you've got Valor, which means a great teammate who stays cool and is fun to play with. Dedication, which is a reliable teammate who stays engaged, fills in roles, and actively relays intel. Then you've got guidance. So this is someone who would fill a leadership role or is giving out really good advice to a fellow teammate who is maybe brand new or just doesn't know some of the mechanics of the game. And then the last one is commendations from opponents. So this is a little bit different. This is simply a vote for the enemy team who could either vote no or yes on whether your team were friendly and fair. If the majority votes yes, you will get a commendation from that team. And of course, you also have the ability to vote on the enemy team as well, and if the majority of your team agrees, they will get a commendation. Next up, let's move on to the misconduct tab, which shows your negative traits. So this is broken up into abandons, friendly fire, voice abuse, text abuse, and griefing. And the first one is for leaving a game that is currently in progress, so it's quite self-explanatory, and this is the only one that doesn't involve a player reporting it. You then have friendly fire, so if you shoot and kill or down a teammate and they report that as being deliberate, it'll show up here. Whereas if the teammate who died to that friendly fire said it was an accident, it will not show up here. And then you've got the ones being purely reported by your fellow players. So voice abuse, text abuse, and griefing are all available in the menus for fellow teammates to report on you or for you to report on them. However, griefing is a little bit different because enemy teams can also report you for griefing. Now, first of all, do not panic. You're probably going to go in here and see a big bar for griefing, and that is purely because griefing is pretty much the standard one to go to, so it's going to be the biggest one out of everything you see here. I've seen a lot of people say, how are they calculating this griefing and stuff like that? It is just user reports, and that is it. However, don't worry because this may not impact your reputation score whatsoever because all the reports are not calculated equally because, for instance, if one player just reports everybody for griefing, then the system goes, well, that's pointless reports, not going to take them with any weight at all. Whereas someone who reports just a few people over the course of maybe 10 matches, but if a lot of other people are also reporting those same players, then the system might be like, something actually seems to be matching up here, and then take those reports with more weight. So what I'd recommend here is not to panic about what you see in the misconduct tab, and I actually give the reputation system a commendation here because they could have just hidden this and not shown us it at all. It's nice to actually go in and be able to visually see it because of course people have been reporting people for years and we couldn't see it at all. It is nice to actually have a visual representation of it. Just don't worry that it's going to impact your actual reputation too much. Now, a couple of notes. The voice abuse, I don't believe Ubisoft currently keeps recordings of the voice chats, but they do keep the text chats. So if someone does report you for text abuse, and then someone comes in and checks that, they can then confirm that report was genuine. So I would definitely watch out what you're saying in the text chat. It could massively, and I would say, be one of the more surefire ways of having a reputation be impacted because that text log is there. They will be able to look at those reports and then confirm that. But that's going to be a more powerful one, whereas griefing, that's a much more open one, I think it'll be far less impactful on reputation standing. However, you will notice that there's a big gap at the bottom here that looks to be perfectly sized to fit maybe another 3 reputation types in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, and this is purely a guess on my part, that they might actually split griefing up into maybe trolling, throwing games, using glitches, so you have a bit more of a refined option, because griefing covers far too much in my opinion. However, that's a pure guess on what they might do in the future. Now let's move on and talk about rewards, and we can finally answer what is that fire icon that we're now seeing on the scoreboard next to players' names. And this is what the developers are calling a streak. And this is a player who is consistently getting commendations from their fellow teammates. Now you might think I can just cheat the system and play with a 5 stack and we keep giving each other commendations game after game. But you cannot, because you can only give a commendation to a fellow player once per week. But that may also be a bad thing for 5 stacks, because that means you're not getting commendations much. Maybe you won't actually end up getting the rewards the reputation system brings in. And what are those rewards? So if you're on a streak and you've got a little fire icon, well, you're getting a plus 1% drop chance on alpha packs. So of course, a really weak reward there, like that's almost nothing. And maybe they'll have better rewards in the future, but a streak right now is pretty much not worth it. And the fire icon itself might make you a target for griefers. So the developers have thought of this. In the privacy mode menu, you'll be able to switch off this little fire icon. This means that you will no longer see other people's fire icons and your own one will be hidden from other players. However, on console, there is no privacy mode menu as of yet. Now the privacy mode is going to get added into the console version of Rainbow Six Siege in the future, but right now it's not there as of September 2023. We don't have a date of when it will get added in, so if this little fire icon does attract griefers to you, then there's no way to switch it off, which is a bit of a pity and a bit of an oversight on the console version right now. So that covers the streak feature. We'll now talk about the other rewards. So if you simply get a single commendation for the current season, you will receive at the mid-season an alpha pack of epic rarity. That means pretty much everyone in the player base is going to get this free pack. Now, if you have any sort of sanction against you, which means like your text chat is switched off or you're got automatic reverse live fire on for killing too many teammates, then you're not going to get it. But for the most part, the majority of the player base is going to get this free epic rarity alpha pack for mid-season, and I'm sure it will be a duplicate. At the end of the season, the top 25% of commendations for this season will receive an alpha pack of legendary rarity. Now, what I'm interested here, and we don't have details on, is if I simply play more and get more commendations, is that better than a player who maybe plays a little bit but gets loads of commendations per game? So I'm curious to see how it calculates that, and we may never find out, but certainly the top 25% of players with commendations for the season will get themselves a legendary alpha pack. But I will say, I believe these rewards are beta rewards. I think that once we get into the full version of this, I wouldn't be surprised if when a player achieves the top rank in their reputation, that they get like a signature weapon skin or a signature uniform or something like that they can continue to wear while they're in that top rank of reputation. If they go down, then they lose those special skins. That could be something they could easily add in the future, and I kind of expect that, but that's a pure guess on my part. So now let's talk conclusion. The reputation system has been a long time in development. It definitely seemed when they first announced this many years ago that they thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was, and it ended up taking a lot longer to get here, and we're still not at the finish line. We probably got multiple years before we finally get there, and I don't know if it's going to work. Is it really going to make the player base less toxic or not? And we can see that all the kind of gaming industry is going after this kind of stuff, because having a toxic player base is bad for sales and player numbers. So there's this big push to get that toxicity out of the game. And you can see Call of Duty and stuff like that actually implementing AI that listens to voice chats to automatically ban players that are using like slurs and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of attempts to get this right, and I don't know if this will be a success or not. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway guys, let me know what you think of the reputation system so far, and I'll catch you next time.